the High Court now taking up the case on the RG Car Hospital vandalism. Big observations by the court on vandalism that took place at a site where the rape and murder had happened. The High Court pulls up Mamata Banerjee's police over the vandalism, saying over 7,000 people had gathered that night. How could cops not have any intel reports? Very pointed questions being asked of the Kolkata police. The High Court says, shift patients, better to shut that hospital down. That's as much the High Court there, infuriated with the lapses that was on full display by the Kolkata police for considering the fact that there was growing anger. Students and doctors from all over were out on the streets protesting. It was a planned protest where posters were out. Women were calling for Reclaim the Night protests, asking their male friends to join them to ensure that this protest really swells and adds pressure in ensuring that the case is decoded at the earliest. And instead of actually having multi-layer security there, clearly Kolkata cops were outnumbered. That's precisely what the High Court has observed. Let me cut across to Nalini Sharma joining us, tracking court for us. Nalini, the High Court pulling up the Kolkata police, pointedly asking, how could you not have intel reports when there were nearly 7,000 people who gathered, showed up right outside the RG Car Hospital that night?
Well, absolutely, Nabila. In fact, the Chief Justice has said that it's a complete failure of state machinery. The fact that 7,000 people entered that hospital and the administration and the authorities who were present there, despite the fact that protests have been going on, they were not able to control the crowd. They had no information of the fact that 7,000 people were going to come there, because what the State Council argued before the court was that this was a sudden mob of 7,000 people that entered the hospital. So what the High Court has said that it is the state machinery which is responsible for the vandalism that has happened, and that they should present a detailed chronology of events of what exactly happened on Wednesday night before the court in an affidavit on the next day. I think the next day is going to be next week. It's also interesting to know that the High Court has allowed the doctors to be now present before the court to voice their grievances that they have in regard to this particular hospital. So what we're given to understand is that the hearing before the High Court might not be just limited to the rape and murder case of this doctor that has happened in the RG Car Hospital, but might spill over to the overall administration of the hospital itself. Because even the last time around, the High Court had raised some severe questions regarding the role of the principal, why the state machinery had not questioned the principal. So there were a lot of question marks and red flags that were raised by the High Court. So today it seems like they've taken one step further. This was a matter that was listed by the High Court themselves, because what the Chief Justice said is that they've received several emails over the course of the past 2 days informing them about the vandalism that has happened. So the matter was listed by the High Court themselves to ask questions to the state government regarding what had happened. And now they've asked for a detailed report. They've also made some very strong observations, and the state will have to come back with answers as to how they allowed the state machinery to fail in a hospital that was already facing such severe protests and had seen a horrific crime like the one that we saw just a few weeks back.
Well, we see as per the court hearing there, the judges have also observed and highlighted how there needs to be more stringent measures to ensure protection of the doctors' fraternity. And now you're looking at more protesters gathering on the streets, and we see a whole declaration by the IMA that they're going to get on the streets on Saturday. So Saturday is going to be a big day with thousands of people on the streets to protest. So the court really observing that there should be adequate security that should be deployed. If anything, shut down the RG hospital. That's what the court has said. To shut it down is a big deal. It's going to take a lot for the hospital patients to be moved out, but that's what the court has clearly said.
Well, yes, Nabila, and the court is clearly signifying at the fact that they are not going to be allowing any kind of lapses, big or small, in the functioning of the hospital. And if there are any red flags that are actually observed by the court that are backed by evidence, then they are going to go to the extent of shutting down the hospital, because there is a genuine concern for not just the lives of the doctors, but also the lives of the patients that come to that hospital because of any kind of faulty functioning of the administration itself. So some some very serious steps being taken by the High Court today in this regard. And since the day that the matter has been filed, it started with the PIL. Eventually, the family members of the victim of the RG rape case also joined in as petitioners. And now the court has gone one step further and allowed the doctors also to join in and present their side to the case. So there's a steady increase of the scope of what the High Court is going to be looking at, and now it seems like that the entire RG hospital itself is under scrutiny by the High Court. Each aspect will be looked at minutely. It's not just about the rape case anymore, it's not just about the vandalism, but it's also about the administration and the functioning of the hospital, which is why the doctors have been called in to voice their concerns, present their arguments, whether that will be through a lawyer, whether the doctors will themselves come before the court, because today certain doctors did come themselves before the court, is something that remains to be seen in the future course of hearings. But the High Court has officially stepped in, it's safe to say that, and one way or the other, either the RG hospital is going to completely fix its way of functioning and have to answer some very persistent questions by the court, or on the other hand, the High Court will issue an order to shut the RG hospital down, is what they've said.
Stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to TMC's Riju Datta joining me on the phone line. Riju Datta, give us your take on what the High Court has observed here, clearly asking the Kolkata police, how did they not have intelligence that nearly 7,000 people will show up as part of that protest right outside RG Hospital, when at a time there's already investigation on the rape and murder case happening?
With all due respect to the Honorable Calcutta High Court, I know I cannot comment on that, on a judge or the judgment or the opinion, but I will only hope that the Honorable High Court does not think that Calcutta Police is a Harry Potter movie. There were women, normal women, non-political, who came out on the streets of Bengal. Entire Bengal, the police force also has its limits. Entire women of Bengal were on the streets. They were given protection by this Calcutta police. A bunch of hooligans under the garb of this peaceful protest vandalized RG Court. The police did not attack anybody. The police did not fire at anybody. The police did its job, and within the first 48 hours, already 19 people have been arrested. So you have to give the police time to do their job. The Calcutta police arrested the primary accused in the gang rape case, or in the murder, or in the rape case of the doctor in 24 hours, 72 hours. CBI.
I agree, but
has CBI arrested anybody else?
Datta, we're not refuting that. I'm asking you a clear question on 7,000 people who gathered outside the RG Hospital. Was there no word on that kind of crowd moving towards the RG Hospital? The cops did not know. Don't you have intel reports to suggest that that's a large mob coming closer to a scene of crime?
Let's be a little practical here. The Calcutta police had knowledge that there will be not 7,000, almost 20,000 people who will come in a peaceful protest outside Artikar. The cops were ready for it. The cops did their job. But if a bunch of 100-odd people with machetes and rods and sticks under the garb of this peaceful protest suddenly enters RG Corps and starts breaking everything up, carrying DYFI and SFI flags, what do you expect? Then by the same logic, when we have terrorist attacks in Kashmir, is our national intelligence failing? Certainly not. Certainly not. I do not understand this logic, but obviously I cannot comment on the wisdom of the Honorable Calcutta High Court, so it is just my humble submission that you should give the police the credit where it's due. They have done enough. Whatever they have done, has CBI arrested anybody else? Has CBI established the gang rape theory? Has CBI done anything more than what the Calcutta police has done?
But CBI also has taken up the case only in the last 24 hours.
Yes, not 24 hours. It has already been right now around 56 hours. 56 hours. My logic is very simple. We have the Calcutta police, and forget Trinamool Congress, BJP or anybody else, political party. The Calcutta police have nothing to hide. The tallest policeman of Calcutta, the commissioner of police himself with additional commissioner and joint CP crime investigated this matter. The primary accused was arrested in 24 hours. You handed it over to CBI, well and good. We also want the culprit to be hanged. But give the credit where it's due. This continuous hammering of Calcutta police is lowest of low, because
Riju Datta, there's been a lot of talk around the fact that that principal who was, in fact, governing that RG Medical College and Hospital resigned, and it was the Kolkata government's decision to then placate him. So you ensure that he stays, but in another institution. The court also in the earlier hearing, heard that and saw that to be insensitive towards this case, saying, the principal is surely responsible for security. He must go on leave with immediate effect. So those angles making it look like the West Bengal government itself isn't really serious enough to crack this.
Let me ask you, is the Honorable Calcutta High Court very serious? And the Calcutta High Court has taken on its shoulders to give the investigation to CBI and make sure this goes on a fast-track way. Well and fine. Why doesn't the Calcutta High Court order the CBI to take Shundip Rai in custody if he's guilty? Why hasn't the CBI called this principal, Dr. Shundip Ghosh, for questioning or inquiry? Why, if he is so guilty, and if Calcutta West Bengal administration has done such a bad job, why hasn't the CBI arrested him?